25 years of fearless journalism. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios here in Kokomlemle at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country, including Pad FM in Damango, Radio Max in Takrade. We are around the world at myjoyonline.com. In this edition, Electoral Commission reveals it registered minors and foreigners among the 16.9 million persons it has so far registered to vote on December 7. We'll hear from EC chairperson who is, however, assuring that such persons will be removed before the elections. Governing NPP confident Ghanaian youth will vote to maintain the Akufo-Addo government because of its interventions in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic.
This initiative and was significantly pushing the youth and improve upon their life standards, and I'm of the firm belief that they will vote massively for the new patriotic party.
We'll hear more of what the party has been saying as they join the world to celebrate International Youth Day. Corruption Watch investigation cites Zongo Development Fund Chief Executive Officer in over 5 million Ghana cedi procurement breach. We'll hear from the Chief Executive of the fund. In sports,
we'll hear from Ghana striker Samuel Tete on his new ambitions after completing his transfer from Red Bull Salzburg to MLS side New York Red Bulls.
And in Spotlight today,
it was so difficult for me to make that decision that I had sleepless nights. But also, I wanted to, because I had been in the church for so long.
Our focus today is on Irene Logan, one part of the duo Irene and Jane, as we celebrate female musicians who were once vibrant in the music industry. That and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. Please stay for details. And this is your election headquarters. The Electoral Commission says there are minors and foreigners among the 16.9 million persons it has so far registered to vote on December 7. Chairperson of the EC, Jean Mensa, however, assures that such persons will be removed before the elections. The EC last week assured it is on course to deliver a credible election with a register comprising only Ghanaians. The Commission has this morning been giving an update on the process so far. Jean Mensa, Chairperson.
We are aware that a number of minors have found their way into the register. We are confident that the talent processes initiated at all districts throughout the country will unearth these illegal persons and make the register of those who do not qualify to be thereon. We are confident that the register that will be used for the 2020 elections will be a wholly owned Ghanaian enterprise, reflecting qualified Ghanaians and Ghanaians only. We now come to the number of persons who registered as of day 36. The number of persons amounts to or add up to 16,932,492. At the end of the 2-day mop-up exercise, 30,814 persons have successfully registered as part of the 2020 voters registration exercise. In a nutshell, the total number of registered voters at the end of the 2020 voter registration exercise stands at 16,963,306.
Electoral Commission Chairperson Jean Mensa. Now, my colleague Joseph Akable was at that news conference. He joins us with more. Joseph, how were the EC officials able to determine that these persons were minors and foreigners? And did they indicate how many of them they may have registered?
She said they don't have a number to it, but these are reports that they've received from individuals who monitor the exercise closely for them.
Daily reports on what is happening on the ground, and in some cases videos and so on are shared with us in some instances. So we are very mindful of that, and I'm sure that you are also aware, because it's discussed in the media landscape. Even today we see in some of the newspapers 2 foreigners have billed for processing voter ID cards. So it's not something that is oblivious to us. But we are aware because we receive those reports from our monitors on the field. And I know that this is not a secret. As to the number, we are not able to say so now. And I think I mentioned that at the right time when we are done with the challenge cases and the reports have been received, we will be able to give you a breakdown of the challenges per category, whether it's for minors, foreigners, underage persons who are not of sound mind, and so on. So I'm sure that in the coming weeks is something that we would share with you.
Now, Joseph, we understand the EC has also been explaining how it will ensure that such ineligible persons are off the register.
There are currently about 30,000 challenge cases that have been filed, and so they expect that once they resolve that, they can take such individuals off the register.
We are determined to put in place and ignite all mechanisms available to us to clean the register and rid it of all unqualified persons, i.e. minors and foreign nationals. We are confident that at the end of the day, we will present Ghanaians with a credible register that reflects Ghanaians only, a wholly owned Ghanaian endeavor. We would like to express our gratitude to the citizens of Ghana for believing in us and for participating massively in the 2020 voters registration exercise. And we are most grateful to you all. We would also like to thank our partners, particularly the security agencies under the auspices of the Election Security Task Force.
Now, Joseph, just before I let you off, let's talk about the gender dynamics.
Okay, so women make up 51.73% of the register, whilst men make up 48.27%. The Upper East region recorded the highest number of female registrants per population with 54.6. The Western region had the highest number of male registrants per population, 51.2%.
Well, thank you very much, Joseph Akable. With that breakdown, we head to the Ashanti region, where the NDC says the decrease in numbers on the new voter roll enhanced their chances of increasing their fortunes in the upcoming election. So the party says provisional figures from the just ended registration exercise shows a reduction of 57,000 voters in the Ashanti region as compared to the figures in the old register. So the region has proven loyal to the NPP, accruing over 76% of votes for the governing party in 2016. The NDC Regional Secretary Kwame Zu says a careful study of the figures show most constituencies with huge voter turnout have reduced significantly. He spoke to Love FM's Nana Aljima.
Constituency in the Kumasi Metro, mostly the Swame constituency, the Oforikon constituency, and the Soka constituency, they have lost a poll figure of over 60,000. So if Asawase constituency, 2016, they had 103,000, and they have dropped to 101,000. That is just a shortfall of 2,000. As compared to these constituencies that have lost a poll figure of over 60,000 in Kumasi. Previously, if you are rating the 11 constituencies in Kumasi, Asawase came fifth in terms of voter population. Today, Asawase is coming second. Asawase is coming second only after Kwabri East. So I am surprised to hear people peddling figures about for which they have decided to celebrate. There is nothing to celebrate about. The reality still insists that figures in most strongholds of the MPP have dropped considerably.
So that's Kwame Zu. He's the NDC Regional Secretary. That's the Ashanti Regional Secretary for the NDC. Let's bring in the NPP Ashanti Regional Secretary, Sam Pine. We're grateful for your time here on the Midday News. So you've heard the NDC. They say there's been a reduction of 57,000 voters in the Ashanti region as compared to the figures in the old register. In fact, they say it will enhance their chances in the upcoming elections. But first off, are you able to tell us how many people were registered this year as against 2016? Do you have the figures?
We have 3,012,035 people registering for the 2020 elections. In 2016, we had 2.675 on the register. So I simply don't understand where Kwame Zu got his figures and he's bandying it about as if the world has come to an end. But you know, the NDCs need strategic thinkers for them. And it beats my imagination that when you have a political party that has Ashanti region as the third biggest region, that gives them the numbers, and they have dropped in registrations in the region that they are claiming, and they are so happy about it. They don't simply understand it's going to affect their numbers too. You see, so that's the bottom line of the case. But you see, they lack understanding of the whole matter. You know, KUST, he was quoting of curriculum, hosts about 4 tertiary institutions, KUST itself, UCOMS, Spiritan University, some media house, media schools that are within the municipality of curriculum. All of these students are not on campus, and therefore, if they're assuming we have about 50% of them resident in Kumasi, the rest of the 50 are outside Kumasi. Apart from that, you go to Ashanti region, you have over 14 nursing schools, about 7 teacher training colleges, and a lot of secondary schools in the region. All of these students are not on campus, and therefore, definitely, if most of them are not resident in Kumasi, they are going to register in another region, which I believe account for the figures in Accra and other region. So they need to be strategic and think about it and start binding about all of these matters.
So nothing changes for the NDC in terms of their voter fortunes in the Ashanti region.
Numbers in 2016, about 1,600 people voted NPP, and about 400 plus voted NDC. All right, we have about 3 million plus now.
Okay.
Our target is not about the number of people on the register, but those that we can pull to vote for us. So if we move from about 1.6 million to 2 million plus, we won the election already. So they shouldn't be kidding themselves. That's what I'm suggesting to them. They should get strategic thinkers to think for them, because they lack that.
We're grateful for your time. That's the Ashanti Regional Secretary Sam Pine there. Now, in a separate development, Member of Parliament for Aswasi Alhaji Mutaka Mubarak has rated the exercise successful despite pockets of violence recorded in some areas, including his own constituency. He says the exercise has deepened the divide among the people there.
You know me and I know you. And today, because of presidential exercise, you say because of your party, you deliberately say, I should go through this frustration. I can tell you there have been so deep division in our community. And I can tell you that it's across the country. Because if you look at what's happening in Pota already, if you look at what's happening in Banda, look at what's happening in Kasua, our country's area, nothing can describe this register than being a divisive register. It has divided us more. And I believe they've only created the sword that they are going to follow.
Aswasi MP Mutaka Mubarak. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the governing NPP says they are confident the youth of the country will vote to maintain the Akufo-Addo government because of its interventions in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking at an event to commemorate the International Youth Day, National Youth Organizer Henry Nanabuache says the youth of the country have benefited immensely from all interventions of the NPP. He spoke on the theme Youth Engagement in Mitigating the Impact of COVID-19, the need for innovation and creativity.
This initiative and was significantly pushing the youth and improve upon their life standards. And I'm of the firm belief that they will vote massively for the New Patriotic Party. The New Patriotic Party, that whatever it takes, any new strategy that we can come up with to make sure that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is elected for the second term, and Alhaj Mahmoud Bawumia also is the vice president, we shall do it. We are encouraged by the support of the party. We are encouraged by the support of the youth wing nationwide, and we shall deliver. 4 more for Nana to do more for you. 4 more for Nana to do more for you.
That's the National Youth Organizer of the NPP, Henry Nanabuache. My colleague Manuel Kranting is at that event. He joins us on the line. Mano, did they give an idea about how many youth they say have benefited from these initiatives that he talks about?
Well, he mentions a specific figure of over 2 million youth who he say have benefited from government's provision of COVID-19 relief items at the height of the pandemic. He mentioned some hand sanitizers, face masks, and so on, which were donated to the youth. He also mentions that people, in fact, youth who had lost their jobs because of the pandemic had benefited from free water bills and electricity, and also some tax cuts for health workers within the space. And so these people all benefited from government interventions, and he is confident that they're going to maintain the NPP government.
That's my colleague Manuel Kranti. Now, opening the program earlier, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia urged the youth to assist the government in the fight against COVID-19, which he says government has made considerable progress in reducing the active cases.
So we have about 2,026 or so people who are actively positive to manage. But there is so much that is unknown about that, and we need to continue to follow what the science and the data tells us. The youth is very, very key in this battle, but government is also very, very key to address some of the challenges that the youth are facing, whether it's in terms of jobs, whether it's in terms of housing, and so on. So we will do our part.
Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Now, prospective national service personnel have expressed anxiety following the delay in the release of postings for the 2020-2021 service year. Last year, the National Service Scheme posted 77,962 personnel to various sectors, with 11,614 of them ending up in private user agencies. Now, with businesses folding up and wages being cut due to the impacts of COVID-19, the delay in this year's postings has left prospective personnel frustrated over what the future holds for them. Some of them have been speaking to Joy News.
The anxiety that comes with all the delays. I'm thinking, where am I going to get posted to? Am I ready? Am I prepared? What kind of plans am I going to make if these postings come out? And probably something I did not prefer.
With COVID, expenses are high, traveling is risky, and this whole thing of going to your district office to go and check your visa agency and come back home and pack and look for accommodation outside this. I don't think I want to go through all that. If I'm posted outside Accra, I'm sure I may be national service to maybe next year. I'm quite anxious about the postings because I would want to be posted closer to where I live, but I don't know for sure if I would be posted closer to where I live.
Some prospective service personnel there interacting with Joy News. Meanwhile, officials of the scheme says the pandemic has not affected the interest of private user agencies in recruiting service personnel this year. Armstrong Issa is Corporate Affairs Director of the National Service Scheme.
There are some concessions, there are some relaxed measures that may be introduced to the prospective national service personnel. Of course, we accept that COVID has brought some kind of economic contraction in our system. Businesses are reducing their regular staff and their activities. But we've received quite an encouraging number of official requests from the user agencies, which indicates to us that private institutions, private companies are very much still interested in the services of our national service personnel. We just want to ask all of them to stay calm.
Armstrong Isaiah, Corporate Affairs Director of the National Service Scheme. Let's talk corruption-related matters at this point, because the Corruption Watch investigation has uncovered that the Zongo Development Fund has engaged in alleged procurement malpractices in the purchase of goods, services and works worth 5 million Ghana cedis. The management of the fund allegedly supervised procurement breaches such as inflation of contract figures and breaching of entity heads threshold. Corruption Watch established that 200,000 Ghana cedis of the 5 million Ghana cedis was spent on a contract for COVID-19 PPE. In addition, the Zongo Development Fund was alleged to have spent more than 4.8 million Ghana cedis to procure, among others, office cabinets, ICT equipment, and accessories, and engaging of consultants for various services. Now, responding to the allegations, Chief Executive Officer of the fund, Arafat Suleimana Abdullahi, who doubles as head of entity, considered that he went beyond his threshold, contrary to sections of the Public Procurement Act.
When the need came for us to procure sanitizers, and because the Zongo people needed it, and the purpose of our establishment is to address the needs of. And at that time, it was so crucial, a time that if you give somebody a sanitizer, you save the soul. In fact, I overlooked my capacity for goods procurement. It's 100,000. I said no. The Zongo people need more than 100,000. PPA was closed. They were not working. If you need them, I think they say come at 2 o'clock to meet some skeletal stuff. To get it was just manic. And looking at what my people needed, my client group needed, I was prepared to go over the schedule, threshold, which was 100,000. And I went further to do. I doubled that. Then later I'll go to PPA and say, Master, I beg. Here I knew I was wrong, but this is the reason. So I went beyond the 100 and did 200, which I knew from the one that I was doing, because I put the interest of my client group first, rather than what to some extent the process was, which is something I wouldn't want to do again, but given the circumstances around they needed more than what. So we went ahead. I went ahead and said, well, let's do 200. But if you do that, it's like, that is not the end of it. You have to make sure that you do the right thing. So the letter to PTA was to tell them that, yes, prodigal son, I went beyond what you have prescribed. I've now come. Accept me as your lovely son again. I know it was wrong, but I want to go through the right process now.
You heard that Suleimana Arafat Abdullahi is the chief executive of the Zongo Development Fund. On that note, we take a quick break here on the Midday News. But first, our top stories. Electoral Commission reviews and registered minors and foreigners among the 16.9 million persons it has so far registered to vote on December 7. Still to come, we have sports. And then our focus today is on Irene Logan, one part of the duo of Irene and Jane, as we celebrate female musicians who were once very vibrant in the music industry.
It was so difficult for me to make that decision.
The European domestic football action is heading for a big finish as the 2020 UEFA Champions League takes center stage. It's all on the line as Man City, PSG, Barcelona, Juventus, Bayern Munich, and Real Madrid face off in an action-packed mini-tournament. Catch it live on SuperSport from the 7th of August. Get DSTV and find out who will be crowned champions of Europe.
Oh my goodness, you cannot write the script for this. This is unbelievable stuff.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Hansman Sando, yes, sports.
Striker Samuel Tete says he wants to establish himself in the Major League Soccer after completing a loan move to New York Red Bulls. The striker joins Metro from Red Bull Salzburg for the rest of the season with an option of a permanent deal at the end of the spell. The striker also spoke about why he chose the LMS side.
After the last game, I was having some discussion with Red Bull, and so it was either I go back to Salzburg or I go to a different team. So I spoke with a lot of things, and I think Red Bull is the choice I need to go. I think it's not going to be easy. I must admit, it's a new league and a new environment. But I'm looking forward for this new challenge, and I just want to establish my name in a different league, and we'll see how it goes.
Striker Samuel Tete speaking there, and of course there's live commentary later tonight. Atalanta are up against Paris Saint-Germain in the quarterfinal of the UEFA Champions League. That's your sport.
You had the sounds of students of the University of Environment in Bonso. There will be heading to the area. They have concerns about some issues that have come up. My colleague Kofi Siao joins us on the line with more. Joseph, Kofi, bring us up to speed on what exactly the situation is.
Well, the students and some staff of the school have been picketing at the administration since morning, and they have been protesting against what they say is the inappropriateness of the management of the school in handling the affairs of the staff and the students as well.
Conditions of service have never been good, especially salaries have not been paid regularly since I joined the university, and it's very difficult. It's too much. For the past 1 year, we've not received our salary, and we don't know the head and tail of what is going to happen. Our students have not been paid. We can't even access national health, and it's really making life very, very difficult. Currently, I don't know what the chancellor is planning for the school, but if he has a good plan for the school, then it should be quick. We realize that management is also not performing, and that is why we are in this situation. So we are pleading on management, giving them a 1 week ultimatum to get back to us in terms of our salaries, because life is really, really tough.
That's the situation in the eastern region. Now, children in the western regional town of Bonsa says the continued pollution of the Bonsa River puts them at risk. The children have for years been swimming in the river which passes through their town, but now its color has been muddied by miners who use dangerous chemicals in their work, including mercury. I'll bring you Justice Baidu's report. He's been to the area and he'll give us details on that. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. This afternoon, the flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has been introducing his running mates to the clergy. I will hear from John Dramani Mahama and, of course, Jean Nana Opukwajiman shortly here on the Midday News as we bring you. My colleague, Kwesi Pakawolsing, is also on the ground and he'll give us details of that. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM, and you know that we are also getting ready for that presidential debate for independent candidates, the Imani and Joy News debate coming up tomorrow. I'll tell you more about that here. But when women politicians, including former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, have hailed Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden's choice of running mate Kamala Harris, she's the first black woman in South Asian American in the role. Now, once a rival for the top job, the California senator of Indian Jamaican heritage had long been considered the front runner for the number 2 slot. Shortly after the announcement, President Trump launched an attack on Kamala Harris, calling her nasty. Although the news of Mr. Biden's choice comes as a surprise to some, not everyone was shocked as he had dropped hints much earlier.
I'd very much like my administration to look like the country, like Barack and our administration look like. Black, brown, women, men, gay, straight, across the board, to look like the country. As vice president, I think it would be wonderful to have a woman or a person of color as vice president. But the most important thing I've learned from my relationship with Barack is that no president in the 21st century can handle the job all by themselves.
And that's the situation in America. Back here in Ghana, of course, the flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has been introducing his running mate, Professor Jean Nana Opukwajiman, to the clergy. Here's what his running mate has been saying.
I'm here to seek your prayers to ensure that whatever the outcomes are, that they are first and foremost pleasing to God before they are pleasing to anybody else. Please continue to add your prayers and voices to our flag bearer for selecting a woman in my person. I don't think it is for nothing. We need to remind ourselves that in everything it is God we are serving. So we are requesting humbly that you continue to pray for us, to keep the examples of sacrifice, the examples of selflessness, of placing others before ourselves, of placing our country before individuals, and in all of it praying that our outcomes may be pleasing to him.
Now, former President John Mahama is asking the religious leaders to unite with the NDC and salvage the country's democracy. Now, he says they cannot sit silent as the country walks through a sloppy path under the current administration. Well, Reverend Professor Frimpong Boateng has also been speaking, and he cautioned political parties against hate speech. He says he asked them not to fall for election prophecies, but rather work to achieve victory. It's time now for showbiz, and Becky is here. We're putting the spotlight on female musicians in Ghana.
Irene is on Spotlight today, and we celebrate Irene for her contribution to the entertainment industry. Irene Logan is a Ghanaian-based Liberian singer and songwriter who gained her popularity after she emerged winner of Stars of the Future in 2006. Irene and Ifia soon formed a bond that birthed one of Ghana's most successful girl groups, Irene and Jane. Baby, when I look in your eyes, when you hold me close, so right. Irene and Jane will revolutionize the music industry with songs like Baby and He Said That. Oh, Mr. Special Sound, kill me with your many styles. Yeah. Irene started her career in 2009 with hit tracks such as Runaway, You Say, Can We Run Away? Can we run away? Nami Dede and Kaliba. I don't wanna go, my baby, for my mind is full. singer who churns soul-touching music has been away from the screens for some time now and yet to return. This has got a lot of people asking if she will indeed make a return after she revealed on Stacey Amwatin's Restoration show that she feels dirty when she sings secular music and that she had a mind battle on what to do next, hence her break.
When I once started the future, I had a serious battle, mind battle, mental, spiritual, emotional. Should I sing what I do, what I'm used to, gospel or secular? Now, it was so difficult for me to make that decision that I had sleepless nights. But also, I wanted to, because I had been in the church for so long, I wanted a break.
Yeah, interesting, right? But hey, being one of the best vocalists in Ghana, Irene has won a number of awards, which include the Best Female Vocalist in 2007 and 2016 in the Ghana Music Awards, and was also nominated for awards like the Cora Awards and Channel O Music.
Yeah, so Irene there, she's considering doing gospel music. So whatever genre it is that she's bringing out, Emefa, we're up for it. And she's been acting as well. At this point, let me run away. And that's it for the Mid-Days. You're on Joy 99.7 FM. I'll be right back with Living Word with Dr. Mensa Otabil.
The countdown to December 7th